Howdy! How was your weekend? How did your team do? My team won, baby, against 7th place Shavs, so I'm feeling pretty good. Me, I'm Adrian. This is Rabona TV, and welcome to our Weekender, where we look at all the goings-on of the top 5 leagues, plus sprinkle in another league, you know, just to spice it up and call it a day. If you're new to the channel and you love being up to date on everything football, then consider hitting that subscribe button and join our great community in the comments section. Let's start out by speaking a little bit about Marco Silva. Now, Watford announced on Sunday morning that Silva had been sacked and blamed Everton and their approach for the manager following their dismissal of Ronald Koeman. Watford claimed that after they had come for Silva, his head had been turned and the team began to suffer. Now, let's take a look and see just how accurate that statement is. Now, before Everton had approached Silva, he had a record of 4 wins, 3 draws, and 4 losses. That's 15 points, scoring 17 and with 21 against him from 11 matches. Watford was in 9th, compared to where they are now in 10th. Following the approach from Everton, his former team now has played 13 matches, with a record of 3 wins, 2 draws, and 8 losses, with 16 goals scored and 23 against. Comparable, even with 2 extra matches played since the Everton interest. Now, Marco Silva was a fairly sought-after manager amongst the mid to lower table clubs this past summer, having come oh so close to rescuing Hull from relegation. At the beginning of the season, he had Watford playing at levels that made people wonder if they could push for the Europa League even, only to tail off just slightly and settle in around mid-table, but that's still better than last year's finish. Following the approach from Everton, they only dropped 1 place in 13 matches, so was his head turned by Everton? Likely so. An up-and-coming young manager will always aspire to climb the ladder of football, and to go to a well-funded club like Everton would be a dream for him. However, his mistake was letting the board know that he wanted to leave, as once you let that be known, as soon as results aren't going for you, your desire to leave will become the reason as to why your team isn't performing. In other words, you aren't as committed anymore. So was it a knee-jerk decision? I don't really think so. I know people say that this was his first bad run of form, and yes, they are still in 10th. But when you have a coach that isn't 100% committed to the cause and results start to go downhill, you gotta find someone who's there for the club and the club only. Not to mention that they had only picked up 5 points from their last 30 available in the Prem, which is the worst run of any team. But that's just my take on it. So what do you guys think? Knee-jerk decision? He had it coming? Let me know. All right, elsewhere in the Premier League, Chelsea drew 0-0. Oh, wait a minute. Chelsea won 4-0 actually, as they went down to Brighton and slapped them up thanks to a front line of Hazard, Willian, and Batshuayi. Now your boy Bats didn't get on the score sheet, but Hazard and Willian ran things out there. Well, actually, Bats got an assist in what was his first Premier League start since October 14th, 2017. Speaking of starts, Willian's goal and assist took his goal involvement to 7 in his last 5 Premier League starts. And Hazard, his brace took him to 101 league goals in his career. For Chelsea in particular, he now has scored or assisted 102 goals in the Premier League, moving one past club legend Gianfranco Zola. Speaking of club legends, recent legend Anthony Martial has been killing it lately, as he smashed in the winner against Burnley, meaning he's now scored in 3 consecutive Premier League matches for the first time ever. I know I'm hard on him, but shout out to Lukaku, as his hold-up play and distribution has been excellent lately. So United won on the pitch, and looks like they won off of it as well, as Mr. Sanchez completed a medical. Enjoy your time at the club, and Mourinho, enjoy figuring out who to make unhappy when you fit him into your lineup. Also, props to David De Gea, who got another clean sheet, his 14th of this campaign, which is more than any other goalkeeper in the top 5 leagues. Can you believe it? Manchester City extended their unbeaten run against Newcastle. Their unbeaten run against Newcastle, I mean. As they made it 21 matches unbeaten against the Magpies with 18 wins and 3 draws. Speaking of threes, Aguero scored his first perfect Premier League hat-trick, aka a goal with his left, right, and his head, since he last scored a perfect hat-trick against Newcastle back in October of 2015. What a nightmare. He loves playing Newcastle, by the way, as he averages either a goal or assist against them every 50 minutes or so. Lethal. And Arsenal's finishing was also lethal this weekend, at least in the first 22 minutes against Crystal Palace, as they came out as 4-1 winners. Arsenal fans will be relieved to see Lacazette finally breaking his duck after 600 minutes without a goal. And it was also the 500th goal scored by a Frenchman for Arsenal in the Prem, so well. Well done, Lacazette. Spurs beat Southampton as the Saints dropped their 9th point at St. Mary's from a winning position this season. Liverpool plays today, so I can't get to them. But I gotta give love to David Moyes after a start that probably had Hammers fans a little worried. Moyes has collected 15 points from his last 8 matches, losing only once and bringing West Ham from the relegation zone up to 11th. In fact, if we were to look simply at their form over the last 6 matches, West Ham would be in 7th place, tied with Arsenal. I know there's still a long way to go, but I feel bad for the guy and I'm guilty of being disrespectful to him in the past, just like we all are. So, let's have a clap for David Moyes. Alright, España, David Moyes' former stomping grounds, as Atletico Madrid managed to not lose once again as Diego Costa, once again, got involved in the goals with an assist to Antoine Griezmann. He really put his body on the line for this one actually, rising to flick the ball wide of the goalkeeper for Griezmann to tap it in. What a warrior. Happy to see things are working out for him in Madrid because, hey, as much as he's an asshole, I love the guy. The other Madrid team got their annual trouncing of Deportivo La Coruña out of the way as they stomped them 7-1. A celebrationless Ronaldo and Bale continued their inter-squad goals race as both grabbed a brace, sitting on 6 goals apiece. Nacho also scored a brace, by the way. In fact, Ronaldo scored and assisted in one La Liga match for the first time this season. Maybe this is just the kind of match Madrid needed to get their season back on track. We'll see. But one thing's for sure, Barcelona were the big winners this weekend as the teams in 2nd and 3rd failed to manage wins.
Valencia lost a shock result 2-1 to Las Palmas, while the aforementioned Atletico only managed to draw with Girona, clearing the way for Barcelona to extend their lead at the top of the table, and that they did, dispatching of Real Betis 5-0. By the way, Barcelona are yet to lose with Thomas Vermaelen in their lineup. Luis Suarez continued his unbelievable run of form lately, picking up 2 goals and 2 assists, becoming the 2nd player this season to score in 7 consecutive league matches in the top 5 leagues. Speaking of which, for the first time in his career, Lionel Messi assisted in his 5th consecutive match. Things are looking up in Catalonia.
Alright, let's quickly talk Eredivisie before we wrap up with France, Italy, and Germany, as Justin Wagenaar said it would be cool for me to speak on some Dutch football. And with RVP making his return to Feyenoord, why not? You know? Well, it looks like his team really could have used him as they were stomped by Ajax 2-0. And I know what you're saying, Adrian. 2-0 does not constitute a stomping. Well, it does when you're outshot 19-3 and the possession was 65% in favor of Ajax. Ajax, by the way, found goals by way of Van de Beek and Huntelaar, the latter scoring his 7th of the season. Add that to his 4 assists from 15 appearances, and it's been an alright homecoming for him, and I'm sure Feyenoord will be hoping for the same with RVP. Heracles will feel hard done by after losing 2-1 at home to PSV after Luc de Jong notched a 92nd minute winner for the Eredivisie leaders, with that win ensuring they still have a 5-point lead over Ajax at the top. Philip Koku's side have a match against Twente next, which they should be fine in, before a tricky cup tie against Feyenoord before taking on high-flying PEC Zwolle. After finishing 14th last season, by the way, Zwolle are currently battling AZ Alkmaar for 3rd place, so keep an eye on them. That was fun, no? Hearing about a different league? Well, let's go to a different league now and go to France, as one of the best matches of the weekend occurred between Lyon and PSG, and let me tell you, there were bangers galore in this one from Lyon, and PSG actually. So here's what's up. 2nd minute, Lyon have a free kick on their right flank from a somewhat harmless area. Except for PSG have Areola in goal, and Areola totally areolas his positioning, which is a big mistake when Nabil Fekir is on the pitch, as he hit that ball with so much swerve that it eluded Areola and bent back in off the near post and into the net. It was insane. In fact, just look at it for yourself. Then, at the end of the half, Layvin Kurzawa leveled the score thanks to an assist from Dani Alves, and shit, did he ever smash it. Speaking of Alves, 10 minutes into the 2nd half, he got himself sent off. The referee pulled out a yellow, Alves yelled something, and then the ref changed his mind and the card to a red. Fast forward to the 93rd minute, Kurzawa's failed clearance falls to Fekir, who finds Memphis in on the left, he cuts inside, and What a match. Honestly, if you had the pleasure of watching it, it didn't disappoint. And let's all hope for a great title race in France, as Lyon and Marseille sit only 8 and 9 points behind PSG respectively. And I always forgot somehow, Monaco won as well, as they're 10 points behind. So second, third, and fourth are all separated by just 2 points. That's a fun league to watch right now. And in Italy, the headline clash was between Inter and Roma, though there weren't any winners to be had on the day, because Inter doesn't have yours truly managing. Shout out to all my career mode watchers out there. But anyways, just because it was a draw doesn't mean it wasn't a great match, as a late equalizer from Mattias Vecino put a bit of a sparkle on the result for Inter fans. Speaking of sparkle, Franck Kessié was a total star for Milan this weekend, as he scored his first brace since his Serie A debut for Lazio in 2016, and that brace ensured Milan beat Cagliari 2-1. Unfortunately for them, however, Sampdoria defeated Fiorentina 3-1, so Milan still sits just outside of the top 6 in 7th place.
And if you thought that Alex Lacazette's goalless run was painful, Dries Mertens went 910 minutes without a Serie A goal, and teammates were happy to see him shrug off the slump, not only for his confidence, but it ensured they defeated Atalanta 1-0 to remain in first. Juve didn't play this weekend, so Napoli hold on to a 4-point lead. Remain in first is exactly what Bayern did in Germany, as they defeated Werder Bremen 4-2, as they continued their domination over the Green and Whites with their 16th consecutive victory over the 16th place team. Müller and Lewandowski scored a brace each, with James grabbing a brace of assists. That's more like it. And hey, we have a bio on James Rodriguez that you should definitely check out, if you haven't already.
Their lead at the top grows wider and wider as the chasing pack have all begun to stumble a bit. Dortmund only managed a 1-1 draw with Hertha Berlin, which Aubameyang was left out of the squad and went to play 5-a-side while his team was playing against Hertha, wearing an Ousmane Dembele kit. Interesting. No? Know what else is interesting? 4 teams are all on 31 points, whereas 2nd and 10th are only separated by 4 points. Cool! That's a tight league. Germany and France are tight. And that's it. That's all I've got for this weekend review. If you learned something, then why not be an absolute sweetheart and drop a like? All right? Later.